Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games. Today we're going to do a review of Tavarua, a game by Cody Miller. Some may know him from his subsequent design, Zia, Legends of a Drift System, as well as his Iridia game that's on Kickstarter and on its way. Tavarua is a surfing simulation, a game about surfing. You are a surfer. You are going to surf. It's all about catching the right waves, getting the best score, and winning it all in the soaked up sand and sun and stuff. So without further ado, let's take this 1 to 6 player game for a spin. Okay, let's see what comes inside Tavarua, a game by Cody Miller. You get a manual, a short, terse, but highly filled with detail manual. Cover it to your eyes. You get a scoreboard. This is where you're going to be putting up your best scores, surfer dudes. You get this board, which is where you're going to be doing your surfing. I guess it's the surf board. You got the channel, the wash, and the break, which will all be explained shortly. Every player gets a paddleboard. You get a surfboard, and then you get the other side, which is, well, you get shortboard and longboard, basically, and you're going to be having a little balance token, etc. This is where you're going to be making your actions and surfing, basically. The card, you've got your little tokens that tell you how you score. These is the wave cards. This is a deck of cards that will tell you how the waves are going to ebb and flow. You need to be prepared for them as you're riding the waves in order to be able to balance on your board all the way to shore. And then every player, you've got your own set of cards. These are cards that you're going to play in your turn. Every player gets a hand of 5 of these cards, always 5 at all times, that will give you certain, well, they give you the names, and then they give you kind of how they go, like rail grab, off the lip, roundhouse. It's a karate game. All right. And that's it. That's all that comes with it, other than the components. You have your champions, championship for longboard, shortboard, and then ultimate champion. And then you've got tokens for Hang 10, Stoke, Barrel, and Perfect Wave, which we'll get into as well. Also, we have Stoke cards. These Stoke cards are, hey, imposter. Stoke cards give you a little bit of a imposter again, of a chance to kind of get some special abilities or have a card you can put in check to use when it's advantageous or helps you with your surfing, dudes. And that's it. Notice that there are enough cards, enough boards for up to 6 players. So the game goes 1 to 6 players. There you go. Let's just get rolling into how we play. Purple and yellow. Go Huskies. And we are ready to go. We've got these, everyone has their surfboard. You get a longboard and a shortboard, and you put them here, like on the shore, scattered about, so people walking by can trip and fall over them. Very authentic. And then you have your surf poles, your surfer meeples. They're ready to roll too. Again, you have the object of the game is to score the best run on the longboard and the shortboard in combination. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, and where you're not simply just trying to go for the highest score. You have to diversify your focus assets in order to be able to achieve success. Now we're just going to run through this. It doesn't take long. Every player gets a board. They get their balance token. This is where they're going to be adjusting based on the waves and their own cards. Everyone gets a chance to see this. Everything's, first player. Everything's pretty cut and dried as to how you play. And so we are going to get rolling. Very simple. Turns are simultaneous, but first, let us set these up. Now, this is the wave system, and this is the important part that you're going to want to pay very good attention with. These are the waves, and you're going to roll the dice at the start of the game for each one. What does it mean? Well, each of these is going to have a designated number on it, and that number denotes the strength of the wave. And there we go. 4, and finally,
6. Woo! All right. What does that mean? Well, and notice the dice. Notice the cleverness of the dice, where based on the number, the size of the wave on the dice is more powerful based on the higher number. That's just a really nice touch. All right. So breaking is important here. The idea is you as a player are going to be going out and doing runs. You're going to do runs by going into the channel, and then at a certain point you're going to decide it's time to jump on the wave, dudes. And so you move over onto the wave, and then if you succeed at catching a wave, you're going to then ride that wave as far as you can down, hopefully to the shore, where you're going to get a score based on how well you navigated that wave and for how long. So breaking is important here. As the dice roll, you can only, there are waves, there's unbroken and broken waves. Unbroken waves are like, nah, they're too weak. Too weak. Broken waves means that, okay, it's broken. I'm sure that's a surfing term, and we will get into that now. So if this number is equal to or greater than that number, it is broken, and you can jump on and ride it. Not broken, not broken, not broken, broken. See, 4 green, broken, broken. So these waves are all ready, those waves are not. Let's just get going. Everybody starts with 5 cards, and I'm going to lay these out for you. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, and we're just going to go down the ritual. Is advance. So the waves are always advancing. So this wave goes off, these waves go down. Set that there. A little bit too far. Polly shore. Well, sure. There we go. Not broken yet. So there we go. So now we're ready to roll. We've done step 1 was advance. Now everyone plays a card. Now why would you want to play a card, and where would you want to play a card? There are 8 actions you can take, and you put your card next to the action that you're going to perform face down. This adds tension and suspense and surprise. What if I wait? What if I bail? Anyway. All right, so let me go over those real quick. Paddle in means if you're out here in the channel, you can paddle closer to shore. Paddle out means if you're on the shore or in the channel here, you can paddle out. Why would you do that? Because you might want to paddle out and jump on a wave, because the longer you're on the wave, the better the chance your score is going to be. Okay, so those are the things you do. When, so you've got paddle in, paddle out. You can also wait if you're in a place and you're like, I see a wave coming down that I'm really impressed with. Then you can wait it out, and then it also gives you an opportunity to like swap out a card for a better one, etc. The other thing you can do, as you paddle in, paddle out, wave, and then catch, and that's the act of going from hanging out here to jumping on and catching a wave. We'll go over that too. Then there's ride. Once you're on a wave, you'll see the different color change. You can ride that wave. You ride that wave, yeah. Is basically only if you've caught a wave does that actually matter. And then you ride the wave, and assuming you successfully ride it, you can add it to your score, to the score section, and you're going to build out a long line of riding on that wave. And finally, you have bail. If you decide that you're just probably not going to be able to keep from falling off your surfboard, you can bail out of the water, score your card, and then continue on from that place in the water. Recover is an action you don't want to use too much of. If you happen to mismatch or balance yourself where you find yourself off the board, above or below, and you'll see that coming up, then you're gonna have to go into the wash, and then on your next turn you can only do a recover action to get back to shore and try again. That's it. So we've advanced. We're gonna play a card. Now the first thing we're gonna do is take a look. Oh, we can't. Another thing, you can't have cards of size 4 on a long board. You can only have them on on a short board. And so that's something to keep in mind. So right now, long boards have their advantages, but they also have the disadvantage that you can't use a number 4 card. All right, so this is our chance. Now we have Stoke Tokens. Stoke Tokens are multi-purpose use. You can use these Stoke Tokens to buy a card at the start of your turn if you want to, or you can use them to increase or decrease the number on one of these cards, or you can use them Oh, when you're, well, yeah, you can always use them when you're increasing and lowering the cards. So, and you get them under three conditions, and we'll go over them again. You get them at the start of the game, but you also get them when you are when you catch a wave. You get them. You get them if you make it all the way to shore. You get them when you wipe out, because that was cool, dude. Um, no, I know they don't all talk like that. All right, so we're gonna say paddle in. Let's do paddle out. All right, you ready? We're going to set that in the discard here. All right, we're going to paddle out 2 spaces. That's not great, but we're going to paddle out 3 spaces. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this 2. And this is the number, and this is how far back you go. And then you can add a Stoke token to increase or decrease that number. Now here we're looking at going, what can I do? I can paddle out 3. Ooh, I too am going to paddle out, but I'm going to paddle out 4. Oh, yeah, I'm going to paddle out 4. So I'm going to go put that. No, I'm not. I'm going to paddle out 1. All right, let's do that. All right, so we've done advance and play. Now everybody resolves at the same time. This speeds up the game considerably. So paddle out means, first off, you'd grab the corresponding board. Has to be down, remember? It's not surfing yet. It's down there. So you got to have the meeple down in proper pose. 1, 2, 3 spaces. All right, and then we're done. Discard the token, discard the card. Always draw back up to 5 as soon as you can. There we go. And for us, we're going to go out 1. So we're going to take our short board and we're going to paddle out 1. So far, not that interesting. It's going to get interesting now. Okay, then we revealed result. Then we do a wave card. Now the wave cards are interesting. On the back, they show you what could be. On the front, they show you what will be. Here, you can see that you may have to move if you're in the waves, which you're not, so you don't even have to worry about it. Then you would have to worry about the fact that your balance token might go up 1 or down 1, and you don't want to be on the edges, on the periphery here when that happens. In this case, it doesn't matter, so we're going to flip it over and go, oh, if anyone had been on the waves, they would be going backwards 1 on their surfboard. You still do this every turn, and the reason you do that is because it's also a game timer. Once the wave cards are exhausted, the game immediately ends at wherever you're at. It's sort of like, if you're at a Wild Waves wave park, and then the wave machine just stops. No, there you go. There went the waves. Anyway, all right, so we're good to go. That's it. Nobody needed to adjust balance, no score. Let's go into round 2. So we're just going to do it again. We'll bring this puppy over here, and we re-roll the dice. 3. So we're going to go here, here, and here. There we go. All right. Now, I'm actually going to... What the heck? I'm actually going to do something a little different. I want to show this... I'm going to show something different than that. There's a reason for that. I'll get to it. All right, so we did that, and then we all play a card. Now, we discard. I'm going to go ahead and... Ooh, I don't want to... yes, I do. I'm going to play that, rail grab, and we're going to have... You know what? We're going to do this. We're going to catch. We're going to put it in the catch column here. All right. And then again, everyone grabs a card. That's how we know. All right. So we've done that. We play, we reveal. Surprise! Oh, I'm so surprised at what I picked. And then we resolve simultaneously again. There are some points. If there's ever 2 people vying for the same wave, there's some rules about that, so that you can, figure out who stays, who goes. All right. So I'm gonna move out 3. So yellow's gonna move out 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and that's that. Now it gets interesting. We're going to catch this wave right here. And that means we stand him up. Do, 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 do. All right. And there you go. Now he's caught the wave, and then he adjusts. Now, if he hasn't bailed out, in other words, if he didn't pick a card and have it all bail out, he moves this over to the score pile. This is the beginning of his persistent scoring for this run. He's right now, if everything fell out and he washed out, or he bailed out, or he got to the shore, it would be worth 1 point for him for this run. That's not very good. He needs more. All right. But now we have to look and go, ooh, look at that. So we now do the wave. because we've done the resolve. Now the wave. Now this could be either 2 or 3 in the forward direction. It is 3. 1, 2, 3. And since he's the only one out on the waves, yellow doesn't have to worry about that yet. Okay, balance and score. We're done. Okay, again, we're just going to keep going with the flow. We know that the next card is going to be 2 to 3 the other way. So now we're left with a situation where we're going to go, what do we do? 1, 2. So I know, I'll show you this. So he's going to ride. He's already caught it. Now he's going to use this for riding. And then here, well, first off, let's do the right thing here. Ooh, this is good. So, 6. So this wave, this is awesome. This is awesome. Not really. Okay. So now what is yellow going to do? Yellow can also choose. This wave hasn't broken yet. And so there's some waiting to do. So now we could wait. If you just choose cards and just put them on the waiting, you can wait for a wave to come. Although realize that your opponent is scoring right now. He's making his way down. He's going to get some scores. You're currently not getting anything, and so we're going to go ahead and use this to paddle out some more. Will we? Will we? No, we're going to paddle out 1. We're going to paddle. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then we go. So then we resolve the cards. We reveal and resolve. In this case, we're going to go down 2 as writing. So he still hasn't fallen off. So we're going to add that there. Now he's got a 3-point run going on. Sweet! And we're going to move up 1 more. No, we're not. We're going to move down 1. I'll show you why shortly. It's going to make sense. All right. Oh, wait. Pretend I did paddle in. Sorry, paddle in. There we go. All right. Paddle in. All right. Oh. Okay. So, look at that. We're good. Now we're going to do the wave. We're going to flip this, and we're going to go 2 backwards. Darn. That was cool. If you ever end the wave card balance on the back of your longboard, you get a hang 10 token, because that's sweet, and that will give you 2 extra points on your at the end of your turn. So there we go. So unfortunately we didn't quite get there, but that's okay. All right, so there's done. Now we're going to again go back up and start the ball rolling. All right, ready? 4. Okay. So we're going to move here. We're going to move this down. And we're going to go 4. All right. Woohoo! Did it. Okay. Now everyone plays a card. I'm going to use the... Now we look in here going, okay, we can go 2 to 3 in this direction. Really hope it's not 3, because if it's 3, we're going to wipe out, because there's only 2 spaces to go here. So what we're going to do instead, because we're going forward, is we're going to use this card to go backwards 1 when we catch. Okay, so that'll make sense. And here, we're kind of in a good spot as long as we already know that the wave is going to move us forward. So maybe we just find one of these cards and we'll just use one of these. So, all right. So then we reveal and we resolve. Look at that. All right. So for this, we're going to go back 1. We're going to add this here. Oh, also we get a Stoke token. I forgot that when you jump on, you get a Stoke token, which we could have used. Okay. And there we go. Look at that. That's awesome. Okay. And then here, we're going to go down 1, but we're going to jump on this right here. Now, why is this cool? 3 and 3 is a perfect wave. A perfect wave. So we're going to get this. We didn't crash, so we go here. This means that we're going to get an extra point for every card we're able to get here. So we might have started with a small, but if we have 2 more runs, that gives us 2 cards. This could be worth 3 points. That could be a big deal. That adds to our score. All right. But now we have the wave, and the wave says it's 3 forward. Woo, good thing we went backwards, huh? 1, 2, 3. 3 forwards. All right. And this says go 1, 2, 3 forwards. All right, so we're safe. We balanced, and now we score. Now, look at that. So our friend here is off. Woohoo! Yay, dudes! I really need to stop that. All right, so we're done. We get to count the score. 2, 3, 4, plus ending here is 6. 6 points. So we take the number, the token, and we go to 6 points. We got a 2.5. All right, we are on the board, gents, and we are set to go. And then these get discarded. Everyone gets their 5th card. Everyone gets their 5th card. All right. And that's it. And we're ready to go on to the next one. And that will be, again, we're advancing. Yeah, 4. Oh yeah. Now so I played enough of a round, but now I'm going to show you a little bit, just give you some situations. If you manage to do a couple things, one, you've got your hang 10 tokens that add to it. You can always add Stoke tokens to your cards. So for example, like this is bad. This is exactly what you do not want to happen. Because right now, there is no card I can play that won't have me wipe out. Because I'm already up here on the board. This stinks. So in this point, the best choice is to bail. And yeah, just bail. So you pick one of these, or several of these. I forget. Yeah, this rules. Anyway, so you basically can bail out. You flip over. It doesn't matter what the card is there, and you flip out and you go off into the wash. Yeah, and that means that you still get whatever you scored. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So you still get 2 points. It's not great. You could do another run too, so it's only a 0.5. Not great. But at least you didn't lose out, because if you happen to break and lose that, and in this case it wouldn't make any difference, but if you had multiple cards it would. If you wipe out, 1, you have to wait a whole turn and to get back to shore, and 2, you only get to score one of your cards. In this case it'd be the same card, but I still would like to not have to leave turns. And then at the end of your turn, you go back into the channel and you kind of got an edge up to go, okay, here we go, let's go find another wave. That's one thing to consider, and why you have the bail action, etc. The other thing to consider is switching out. You have to get to shore, or when you get to shore, whatever you want, you can choose between switching to your paddleboard, switching to your longboard or your shortboard. This is a choice you consciously make as you are trying to get scores in all 4. You have 4 tokens. You can do more than 4 runs. You just have to take the best of whatever. You obviously want to take the best score, and you're going to continue on this until you get all the way through the deck. Now, these are interesting. This is one of the more interesting things of the game. When this card comes up, you are not going forwards or backwards at all. What you're doing is saying, this is a barrel. They call it the barrel. This is the iconic, like every surfer movie, poster and whatever. When this happens, the rules are different based on whether you're on your shortboard or on your longboard. If you are on your longboard, you have to play a card with the same value as whatever this is going to be. So you have a 33.3% chance of getting the right one. Let's say you were doing a ride and you played a 2. Like, that better be a 2 or else you wipe out. It's different for a surfboard or shortboard, because shortboards, well, they kind of love the barrels. You have to pick a number that's actually different than that. And so, say for example, you wanted to ride and you're like, I hope it's not a 3, so you got a 2/3 chance of being successful. Also, as a person on a shortboard, you are allowed to use these 4s. 4s are cool in that they actually let you do something with the barrel, and that is skip it. If you're like, I really, really think I can steer around this, I don't want to take the risk, you can use one of these cards. Not available on the longboard. So you can see the differences that are happening here. In this case, let's see which one of our lucky dogs would win. That's a 3. So he would have had to pick a 3, so he would wipe out. And he would have had to pick anything but a 3, and he wipes out. Alright, and that's it. This is really the essence of the game. You're gonna do like what you normally do when you go paddleboarding, surfing, whatever, is that you're gonna wait, flap your hands and get out there, find a wave, get on the wave, ride the wave as long as you can, and get to shore and score some more. At the end of the game, when you have flipped the final card, and there are no more, the game ends. You look on the scoreboard and you go, who has Who's got the greatest score for the longboard? Well, let's say, who can focus? Champion of the longboard, and so they will be longboard champion. And then you look and say, who's the shortboard champion? Well, whoever's got the best score for the shortboard, and their tiebreakers and whatever. And then to do the grand champion, you take, of these two, you go, okay, well, longboard, what's your best shortboard score? Well, I don't know, shortboard, what's your best longboard score? And whoever has the best shortboard score for longboard champion or longboard score for shortboard champion gets to be the grand final champion. And that's it. That is Tavarua in a nutshell. Not really a nutshell. I played a lot of this game. I'm going to go back and play it again. Let's get into my final thoughts and see if I hate this or not.
Okay, final thoughts on Tavarua by Cody Miller. First off, as always, we go over the cons first, then the pros, then we get to our final thoughts. As far as the cons go, I'm going to talk about the rulebook for a bit. It's not a bad rulebook. It is not a bad rulebook at all. It's informationally very sound. I would even say that there are organizational sections that are logical and tell you pretty much everything you need to know. There were a couple questions I had, but but otherwise it's very tight in its technical detail. It's I would venture to say it's even clinically sufficient. Presentation-wise, there are improvements that could be made, I think. Part of it's dense, so small eyes beware. You have a lot of a lot of words, coupled with a lot of situational examples. It has lots of pockets of info that don't necessarily detail sort of the high-level overview of, for a game about flow. This one didn't have quite the flow. It had jarring kind of sections that kind of just didn't, all the information's there, but I think it could have done a little better job of presenting it in a way that kind of like glides you in, particularly as someone who's not owning thousands of board games. I mean, the one thing I'll say about this is that, even resumes have cover pages. I would have liked to have seen this kind of gone, and it's nice that they're keeping it short, that they're trying to pack everything into as short amount of papers as possible. Thank you for that. But I think if you could do 12 pages, I really wish you could have done 14, because I would love to have seen something on here, something that says, hey, let's get you excited, let's get you in the moment, let's get you, let's figure out, set the stage, get me into it, teach me like I'm not already a surf expert. And that's something where I wish that it had done extra, because while I appreciate box contents, as the very first thing I see about this game, other than what's on the back of the selling box, this here section here is literally about the flavor text you're going to get from the manual. Everything else you have to just figure out based on the game mechanics being described. Everything's described clinically and sufficiently and expertly. But man, the thing even lists like Tom Miller, surf specialist. Wouldn't it be nice if they could have said like, hey, let's give you a story. Let's talk to you about real surfing. Let's say who's the best surfer, or make one up. Who's the best fictitious surfer? Get me into it. Get me rolling. Get me excited. And there's just not that here. You're not going to get that here. Thankfully, the gameplay itself, more than handily provides that anyway, which we'll get into when I get into the pros. But man, I think it's a missed opportunity to have a specialist and not be able to say, hey, give me a story, give me something besides box contents. I've seen better story pacing in UPC barcodes than I did in this, and that's okay. That's my one thing, is that it gives me everything I need to know to play the game, but it doesn't make me excited to go why. Especially, we'll get into that later. That's the king that I would say is probably the big thing that I think I would love to see modified if they ever do a Tavarua 2 or Tahiti Strikes Back or something. I don't know. The other thing is the game is wild as the waves, and that's okay, but some people might find it a little chaotic or find themselves just having a bad stroke of luck. Tight races can happen, and those are exciting. When you're close and you're like, this game is sudden death, so you better be getting all the scores you can, especially in a tight race between two people for Grand Champion. You can also be a complete washout. You can also just screw up and find yourself like going, okay, well, maybe next month. and that's okay with me because it's kind of thematic anyway. The thing is though, is towards the end when you're like, okay, I've got 2, 3 cards left in the wave. There's no way I'm catching up. I'm just gonna do this to try and get a fun score on the scoreboard. But it's pretty clear that you're not gonna have tremendous comebacks from behind. That could happen, but a lot of times it doesn't. You just got to go with the flow to be quirky. I mean, even the quirky victory conditions kind of they give you they're a little different, and it takes a bit to kind of explain like what do you mean like short board, long board, whatever. But anyway, the Stoke cards are cool. I don't think they make they didn't seem to make a tremendous presence. They were just kind of fun little gimmies. I didn't really even explain those really well, but I probably should have. Like the cards are they're just kind of like, hey, you know what? Drop to 3 tokens, or look at the wave cards on the backs and rearrange them. Nothing really. Yeah, it seems they're okay. They weren't great. They weren't bad. I would say that 5 or 6 players I wouldn't play this with just because it adds additional conflict, rules, resolution, overhead that just doesn't really justify its presence. I can see it being there, and I can see it be exciting at people, and I think the simultaneous nature of the turns does make it at least plausible as a 5 to 6 player game, but I really enjoyed it at 4 and 3 and 2 as well. Why not? It's just there. Like, the ocean's big enough for all of us. Yeah, and that's it. That's enough of that. Let's get into the pros. This game is surfing. The theme is the game. The game self-advertises by nature of just playing it. Everything about it is about theme. It's whenever someone says, hey, this is very thematic, usually it's you're taking a system and you're basically weaving a theme into it, and sometimes you'll weave it in well, sometimes you'll just flavor text it and go, this could have been any theme, but let's just make it tropical. There's a testament that I cannot think of any plausible other theme that takes all of this and puts it together and pulls it off. Like, this is surfing. Everything about this is surfing. You will feel like you're surfing. It makes sense. Everything's geared toward the idea of surfing. I think maybe short order cook kind of conveyor, maybe. But no, this is thematic, and every single element of this game just screams, I'm sailing! I sail! Or I surf, anyway. The little touches just show complete mastery of the sport of surfing. Whoever the special, I'm glad. I think it's cool they had a surf specialist. I wish they could have, I wish I could have seen more of him, because clearly this is a well-informed game for the topic. No one just externally went, let's go research Wikipedia for surfing. No, this is good. Like, you've got the again, the dice that grow in the number. You've got the cute little paddleboard, wave boards, short boards, long boards, and stuff. You've got the whole laying out of the board with the different areas, the channel and the wave and all that. And you get the feel of the flow. That's something that you only after the first couple of games do you really understand. Oh, I get it. It really feels like I'm at a day at the beach. I'm gonna chill as I'm paddling out there. And then I'm gonna like, okay, this is my wave, and then you're stoked. You're looking for that perfect wave because perfect waves happen, and when they are there, you got to catch it and ride it, baby. And then you've got that catch moment, which usually is generally pretty safe. And with the Stoke tokens that you can augment, you can kind of strategize. Like, I really want to get that hang 10 token. I think I can pull it off. And then you've got your whole writing session, and that is the whole push your luck at its finest. That's really the core of it. Everything else is getting to it, getting on the wave. That's the point generator right there, is riding the waves. And you feel like it. You're pushing your luck, kind of, but then you also have... I don't know, you just get, I love the writing session. Just you got your intrinsic bravado, hang 10 dudes, you got the barrel roll that gets introduced, that you're like, okay, that's a twist in the plot line. You've got the bail moment, you get to choose. I like that. It's not like, okay, we'll go as far as we can, but now it's time to jump off this train, and I'm still going to get my score, and I'm still going to be out in the water, which is great, except if you want to switch boards, in which case you got to paddle back in, switch boards, or if you want to buy a Stoke card or whatever. And so there's positives and negatives based on context there. Wipeout, it sets you back, not not trivially, but not lethally either. Like, okay, yay, okay, I only get to score a card. It's probably not going to be enough to win. I don't think, though. I'm probably going to have to keep trying this. But you got the trade-off. Like, if you see the end of the game coming, like, okay, do I just right out grab the first wave and try and just, do what I can, play big cards, swing myself on the board, on my board, and just hope that things work out? That's a risk. The flow of the game works well because of the simultaneous nature as well. If you had to wait for everyone to do their things, it really bogs it down, and I don't think I would like it as much. I would say that one of the difficult aspects of it would be the slow pacing turn by turn. When you first play the game, you're probably going to have to spend the first couple turns explaining what it goes on for everybody. But after that, people are going to be able to autonomously, other than when there's a conflict on which wave to get, you're going to be able to just like snap to that game, and that's great. You're going to get a nice feel for that. The winning victory conditions, like I said, they're a little odd. I get them. I like that both boards are essential, that you can't just maximize one. You have to kind of balance it out. And I like the contrast between the boards. The longbow gives you a little bit more fudge room for not falling off the board, but then you get those barrel cards, and those barrel cards, well, we'll get to those. Solo is premium fare. Now, the solo version is, usually when you have, I've seen these before, where you're like, hey, you know what, if you're playing solo, rather than just beat your best score, let's have you have achievements to unlock, or beat your own score, or tweak it a little bit and try this, whatever. This is a full-fledged solo campaign mode in a half a page description. It's beautiful, because it also comes with AI, kind of thing, and this is not just, oh, solo boy, here's a way for you to feel consequential when you're in there playing by yourself. No, this is not that. This is the type of game in a solo mode that sets the stage for a really, really mature kind of season. Like, you play a whole year. You start off ranked low. You need to get ranked to first to win. But every month you've got these really different ways to play, different purposes, different criteria, different things to think about. It really does take on this full season mode, like your video game. Like, hey, it's season mode. I love it. It's great. It's simple. It's brilliant. And literally it's stuck on the back of the manual. Like, what is this? The Daily Frugal? Like, really, it should have been fleshed out. I wish that was just like, I wish the whole manual had that same sort of like, wow, this is really cool. And again, I like the chaos. I like that it's controlled and contextual. This is a trifecta of timing and risk and reward. When to jump on that wave, how long to ride that wave, how long to risk your luck. Do you play it safe? You might get modest scores, and that's great. But if someone takes a risk big time and it pays off, you're going to be behind the curve, and then you're going to have some choices to make, especially as the wave deck dissipates. Barrel rolls are an essential part of this, because a lot of the waves coming and going, you can navigate a lot of them and just kind of go, you know what, for the most part, I think I'm going to be good staying on this board. But those barrel rolls come, and then you got choices, and that's a big choice. That is an interrupt. Okay, I better bail because I'm on a long board. I don't like my odds, and I've got a nice run. But man, if I pull this off, oh, that extra bonus. I love that. Instead of board shuffling, you really get that high level trade off, and they're not so common that you're gonna be like every other turn's a barrel roll. Could be, but you're also gonna get that feel like, oh, I'm glad I'm on my short board because I can pull this off. And you know what? I don't want to risk it. I'm going to play the 4 card. I'm going to go around. Or I'm going to be like, you know what? I got a 66.6% chance. How bad could it be? Well, I showed you in my playthrough. But yeah, when you pull that off, man, it feels so good. And then the other thing is the components. I keep saying it, but those components are just freaking brilliant. They really are. And all the little touches, like the dice with the little larger waves that grow. You've got the surfboards. Those are instant and obvious. I play a lot of war games and stuff, and eventually there's only so much creativity you can go into. Like, oh, this cube is blue. It must be the U.S. Confederation. Oh, this one's red. It must be the Martians. Oh, this cube represents this and this cylinder and that. None of that. These are custom components, and they're not like they're fanciful, but they just evoke surfing to me. The true test of this is that my granddaughter came in, and I had this on the table, and she immediately recognized the pieces. She's 3. She's not even 3. She knew what the pieces were. She loved the little people. She knew the little surfboard, the shortboard, and she grabbed it. And she made me grab a surfboard, and she put it on the ground, and I had to do the same thing. She puts her toe on it, and she starts sliding across to be a surfboard, because somewhere some Mickey cartoon had them surfing. Like, you know you've done a great job in the components when a 2.5-year-old can figure it out and actually know exactly what to do with it. So rock on with that. You did great. And finally, music. Play this with music. Don't shortchange yourself. Now I'm sure you're gonna be like, yeah, let's play with some Beach Boys. But seriously, man, if you want this game in its ultimate, throw on some Dick Dale. Your games are gonna last maybe 15 minutes, man. Dick Dale, supreme background music. So anyway, as we get into my final thoughts on Tavarua. Growing up, I'm not a surfer, and I live up in the Pacific Northwest. It's cold up here, and I grew up, but I did watch old movies growing up. I loved those Elvis and Annette Funicello surfing movies, and so I knew about surfing, mostly because the surfing was generally in proximity of bikinis, and that frankly at that time in my life was like the premier spectator sport. But that said, I wasn't sure when a friend bought a couple years ago. This is my iconic story. I was at a game. I actually went board gaming with a friend, and he brought this out, and I'm like, no, okay, surfing. Like, I've played surf themed games, and I'm like, is this gonna be cheesy like everything else? And I wasn't sure, so he brings it out, and my trepidation, and then he pulls out this big old like sheet of like thin print, like, and we're going over it, and we're kind of like, I kind of remember it. I kind of remember what you do here. Okay, so this, and I will admit the first turn and a half was kind of rough when we were figuring it out, and but then it clicked, and then the four of us were suddenly going, oh, I get it. Oh, okay. When you do your first run down the wave, you get it. And you're like, okay, I totally see this. And this is by the guy that did Zia, huh? Well, that's cool. And then it was out of print, so I could never get it. It literally only came back to where I could buy it, or I found a copy on Amazon. They have them now, back again. But this is the only game about surfing that exists. I mean, honestly, there's several games that are surfing themed. They're not surfing. They're not. They're taking the surfing theme and slapping it onto some other stuff. This is surfing. This box is filled with surfing. It just is. That's how good of a job they've done in immersing me, other than the manual. It's not just a great game. It's not just the greatest surfing game ever made. It's a great game that's utterly inextractable from its topic. And as far as push your luck games, this one has toppled my previous favorite, Celestia, by a nautical mile. So I highly recommend this game. I think you're going to be very happy with it, even if your idea of surfing is watching me on YouTube. So anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.